I'm Reggie here from Fragwell, and this is Stefan Ramirez from Enmasse. And starting off, what is your game to someone who doesn't know anything about it?
Right on. So if you've never played TERA, we are the first true action MMO. So basically we offer all the gratification of an action-style console game with the depth of an MMORPG. And it's where basically player skill is the new stat. It's all about placement, timing, dodging, aiming, getting out of the way. That's all relevant in success in combat.
All right, and for true action combat, how much of that is action? Because I know there's some lock-ons and someone would say, oh, that's not all 100%, but for the majority, what would you say about that?
Well, there are some lock-on skills, but they really complement the action. Like our archer, for example, does have some lock-on skills, but you still have to aim because you can paint your targets. And I think it still plays in a cool way. And it's all about aiming and dodging. That's a lot of the action too. You're not going to lock onto somebody, you're not going to tab target, you're not going to play the UI. Your focus is on the center of the screen where the action is, and you have to constantly be moving. And seriously, players that are better at dodging, rolling, getting out of the way and stuff like that, they're going to probably fend off a little bit better than some others.
Okay, and I know for some of the big showcase fights that I've seen for TERA is on the BAMs,
that's right,
big ass monsters. But what do you have to offer for PvP?
Oh man, so for PvP, we had to rethink it, honestly. Like, the action is different, and we knew we were going to have to do something different to complement it right. So we definitely wanted to have an open world PvP experience. So at launch, during beta actually, you can choose between a PvE server or a PvP server. And actually we added an RP server for North America as well. But your question was about PvP, and we've got this thing called the outlaw system. Now, what that means is, once you leave the Island of Dawn, you hit around level 10 or 11, you get this skill. What happens is, when you're out in the open world, you can flag yourself as an outlaw. And what that enables you to do is hit anyone. Basically, you can go around and attack anyone in the world. But anybody else can attack you as well. And trust me, we've seen in beta, when somebody has a red name, they're going to go
Okay, then I have to ask, what's stopping someone from being a really high level and just being obnoxious? I'm gonna leave it there.
No, I hear you. And honestly, we've been growing this system through beta. We've added this thing called infamy. So there's an infamy point system. Now, if you go and kill somebody that's, say, 5 levels lower than you, you'll start adding to your infamy. And if you go and kill somebody that's 10 levels lower than you, you're going to take a big hit to that infamy. And what that does is it keeps you red. Your name will stay red. You maintain your outlaw status. And the only way to get rid of that is basically to be a good guy for a while. Go out there, kill creatures, that'll help take it down, but also time. You have to wait it out. And we really wanted to give our players a PvP experience where we gave them the content, but we want them to govern it themselves. We want them to run it themselves. And we've seen that that's happening in beta. So, I mean, we have seen some jerks out there, I guess, but we've seen a lot of people come to their aid and help out. It's been really cool.
Okay, and also to comment on the outlaw system, I know I've heard some vocal players in the beta say they're not too happy that someone can get a high level of infamy and then just hide in town. And do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, we are an MMO. We're always going to be updating and making changes. We have really been listening to our players. They've given us a lot of good feedback so far. They're part of the reason that we even have the infamy system in place now and those guidance we're using. So if that turns out to be something that people are really having an issue with, that's definitely something we're going to look at.
And then next we can move on to Battlegrounds for the next PvP. I know that recently in the Korean version and by extension North American and European versions, you're rethinking the entire Battleground system from what it used to be. So what are your goals going forward into this new Battleground system?
And it's simple. Make it kick-ass, make it fun. So it's important that we want to launch with everything at a very high quality. We have high standards at Enmasse and at Bluehole Studios. And we just didn't feel it was ready. We didn't feel like it was good enough to launch with. So what we're doing is we're making it better. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly how we're doing that. We haven't told everybody how we're doing that yet, but I promise we're working really hard to make sure that that's part of our very first major update, and it's going to be really killer.
All right. And then moving on to, we can go on to my next favorite subject, which is the auction house / player shop system.
Yes.
I know recently you discussed the possibility of removing the pets and with valid reason, it does get cluttered in town when there's a bajillion different pets. But one of the biggest, in my mind, biggest perks of having that pet was to buy things when you're not around. So are you guys looking to just completely gut it, or only take out the selling parts, so focus more on the auction house for that?
Yeah, I mean, our plan was that we felt we wanted to make our broker system the central hub of our economy. So we did things to make it better. And we made it like where you can actually auction off a ton more items than originally you could. So we didn't want the private stores. I mean, we just decided that we were going to put everybody focusing on the auction house system, and that's where all of our players have mainly been using for commerce. It's not something we just decided to get rid of. We did a lot of research, we did a lot of searching, we've done a lot of focus group tests, we've taken a lot of feedback. But you know, this is one of the things that we feel is going to make TERA even better in North America.
Okay, and then to add on to that, I guess, do you foresee any in the future, if you are going to add something like what used to be the player buy system for pets into the auction house, so that, say, you don't just want to sell stuff on the auction house, but you want to buy stuff when you're not there, because it can take a long time to find an item you're looking for, and you don't always have the time to search through and find it. So thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's a really good suggestion. That's something we've definitely heard back. You know, it's been on our forums. People have been giving us a lot of feedback, and that's one of the things that we'd love to look at and hopefully make a change for. Because we hear you. Trust me, I hear what you're saying.
Okay, and then on to my next favorite system, Enchanting. I know it pulls from the Enchanting system that's in there right now pulls from what I would say is kind of the generic for most Korean MMOs, in that there's a plus and minus, and that you can succeed or fail, and it's kind of like a gambling system. But on top of that, there's luxing, which I didn't find out until recently. But I know that a lot of players are worried that this is going to be like an insane time sink that they're not going to be able to do if they want to get the best gear. So have you had any thoughts about if it's going to be different for the North American version?
It is going to be different for the North American version, and hopefully this is a good answer for you, because you're right. We want to take out that, you know, random generation type, I guess I'll use your word, the gambling type part of it. You know, it can be frustrating, right? So what we've done is we're making it to where you can only increase your enchant level on items. You're not going to lose or take it down a notch. But what we also did to balance that out is we've added different tiers of the alkahest, which is the material or mat that you need to enchant. So now the way it'll work here in North America is that you will only have a chance of success and not a chance of failing. You're not going to lose it, or I'm sorry, you will have a chance of failing. You're not guaranteed every time to increase the level of the enchant, but we're not going to penalize you when that by.
Okay, so it's no longer going to be going back like negative. Okay.
But you're not going to be able to just enchant all the way up to plus 12 just like that. There are different tiers of outcasts that are going to cost more money, and they don't guarantee that you're going to get that enchant level. They just give you a better chance at it.
So any comment on the luxing system? Because that's the second system that people are really worried about.
I didn't actually catch that.
The luxing system.
Luxing?
Yeah. To constantly re-roll an item's stats to get the best possible stats, and how they view that as a second level of RNG on top of the enchanting. But since you just said that enchanting is going to be fixed, any comment on that?
I do have a comment on that. So what we're doing is we're not going to have a sealed item when you first, for the lower level items. It won't be sealed automatically from the start. You'll just get the item with the stats, but you are going to have the ability to reseal that item and then unseal it to generate different types of stats. Now we're going to put that in your hands. If you want to do that, then it's up to you. But we're going to take away that initial layer where, you know, some people felt it was like, I guess, a bit of a sink, and just give you the item right away from the start. But we're not removing the system. We're just trying to improve it.
And then we can move on to some class discussion.
All right.
Warriors. That's all I have to say for that. Warriors. Okay.
Yes.
Where is it going compared to where it started from? Because I know it started out as an evasion tank, and personally, I love that style of play so much because that was the highest skill cap class, and it was very difficult, but it was very fun to play. And I know in the Korean version that they could no longer queue as tanks, so you kind of veered away from going towards the tanks and more towards DPS. And I know some of the recent patches have followed through on that. But is there any plans to keep them as kind of still have the tank capacity, but still be able to DPS, because they were not able to DPS?
So we are working on the Warrior. The Warrior is actually getting a pretty significant upgrade for our launch version. We're going to be patching right before our open beta, which is on April 20th, and you'll see significant changes to the Warrior. It is going to be a tank role, and there will be multiple ways for you to tank with them. I don't want to give it away yet, because we are going to start releasing these notes. We have a ton of notes around the launch build, and we want to give it to people in segments on our website. You'll be able to check it out. But we're definitely making some changes to the Warrior. We feel that they're really strong changes, and they're going to make the class even better.
So any final comments on TERA that you want to leave with players?
Man, well, we're in the home stretch, right? So we're doing closed beta test 5 right now while PAX East is happening. We would definitely love people to try out our open beta on April 20th. It's a truly open beta. Get in there, get your hands on the game, and then we're launching May 1st.
In the interview, and hope to see you soon.
Right on. Thanks a lot.
All right.